"You should go now," my son said. The words were spoken quietly, almost politely, but they landed with the force of a slammed door. I stared at my son, trying to make sense of what I had just heard. Leo stood in front of me in a perfectly fitted black tuxedo. His bow tie sat neatly against his collar. His hair was trimmed just the way he liked it. Behind him, strings of white fairy lights glowed across the reception tent like stars suspended in the night. Music drifted through the open doors. Guests laughed over clinking glasses. Somewhere inside, his bride was smiling for photographs. It should have been one of the happiest nights of my life. Instead, I felt as though the ground beneath me had disappeared. "You're upsetting Chloe," he said. He didn't look directly into my eyes. He looked just past me, as though I were someone he needed to manage rather than the woman who had raised him. Then he lowered his voice. "Please don't make a scene." A scene? That was what he thought of me. Not the mother who stayed awake through fevers and nightmares. Not the woman who worked double shifts after his father died. Not the nurse who spent 10 years sacrificing sleep, comfort, and every spare naira and dollar to make sure he had opportunities I never had. Just a potential embarrassment. My fingers trembled as I placed my untouched champagne flute on a nearby table. I lifted my chin. I forced my face into a calm expression. Then I walked away. I passed groups of smiling guests who never noticed the storm unfolding inside me. A couple twirled on the dance floor. Someone toasted the bride and groom. A photographer adjusted a flash. Life moved on as if nothing had happened. But something inside me had cracked. The drive home took 4 hours. I drove in silence. No radio, no music, no voice to fill the darkness. Only the beam of my headlights stretching over the empty road and the dull ache in my chest. I replayed every memory I had of Leo. His first steps in our kitchen, the way he clung to me on his first day of school, the night I held him as he cried after his father's funeral, his promise made when he was 12 years old that he would always take care of me. I had believed him. When I finally reached my farmhouse, it was close to midnight. The porch light still glowed softly. The old house stood exactly as it always had, steady, patient, unchanged, waiting for me. I sat on the wooden steps and listened to the chorus of crickets in the meadow. This land was more than property. It was memory. It was sacrifice. It was history. My grandfather bought these acres after surviving a mining accident that took 2 fingers from his left hand. My father built the red barn board by board. My husband repaired the fences every spring. And in the meadow behind the house, beneath a wide oak tree, he knelt in the grass and asked me to marry him. Every corner of this place held a story. I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. At 8:30 the next morning, my phone buzzed while I was kneeling in the vegetable garden. The screen read, "Leo." For one hopeful second, I thought he was calling to apologize. "Hey, Mom," he said brightly. "Quick question. Can you send me the land documents?" I stared at the tomato plants in front of me. "The what?" "The property papers," he repeated. "Chloe and I have this amazing opportunity. Her uncle is a contractor. We could build a few houses, flip them, and make a fortune. The market is incredible right now." I felt as if all the air had left my lungs. He was talking about bulldozing the meadow, about tearing up the soil where my husband proposed, about cutting down the oak trees my grandfather planted with his scarred hands. "We'd make sure you're comfortable, too," Leo continued. "There's a really nice senior complex near us. It has a pool and organized activities." A senior complex. He was planning my removal as casually as he was planning to remove the trees. I swallowed hard. "I'll call you back," I said. Before he could respond, I ended the call. The messages started almost immediately. Then came the voicemail. "I'm all you've got left, Mom. Don't throw me away over a piece of dirt. It's just land." Just land. That was the moment something inside me became very clear. I drove into the city that afternoon. I sat in a quiet lawyer's office above a hardware store. I told her everything. The wedding, the humiliation, the phone call, the land, the memories. She listened without interrupting. Then she asked, "What do you want?" I looked down at my hands. There was still soil beneath my fingernails. "I want to protect it," I said. Within the hour, documents were placed in front of me. A conservation trust. The land could never be sold. It would be preserved. After my death, it would become a healing garden and scholarship fund in my husband's name. My phone kept ringing. Leo. Again and again. The lawyer asked if I wanted to answer. I said yes. I put it on speaker. "Mom, please," he said. "We can fix this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I'll do anything. Just don't shut me out." I held the pen tightly. "Leo," I said, "listen carefully. I have loved you every day of your life. That will never change. But loving you does not mean giving away the last part of myself. I met with the lawyer this morning. The land is no longer available for sale." Silence. "I placed it into a permanent trust. It will be preserved. After I'm gone, it will help others." "You gave it away?" he asked. "No," I said softly. "I protected it." "So you chose strangers over your own son?" "No, Leo. I chose respect." I signed the papers. "I love you," I said, "but my life does not belong to you." Then I ended the call. Months passed. Spring arrived. The farmhouse came alive again. Volunteers restored the barn. Children planted flowers. The meadow began to heal. One afternoon, a car pulled into the driveway. Leo stepped out alone. No anger, no entitlement, just silence. "I was wrong," he said. "I didn't understand before. I thought success meant building something new. I didn't realize some things are valuable because they hold our story. I'm sorry." I looked at him for a long moment. Then I said, "People learn, if they're willing to." He nodded. "Can I help?" I handed him a shovel, and for the first time in years, my son stood beside me, not to take what belonged to generations, but to protect it. Some things are not meant to be sold. They are meant to be remembered and protected.